Hello, my name is Ruben Zaïotti. I'm an assistant professor at the Department of Political Science at Dalhousie University in Halifax. And what I want to do in the next few minutes is talk a bit about my research interests. And it's a very exciting time to study Europe, and in particular the relationship between Europe and North America. There's been a lot going on, and not necessarily, it's been good news above all on the European side, but certainly there's been a lot going on in the relationship between Europe, particularly the European Union, and Canada and North America more generally. In my research, what I focus on is one aspect of this transatlantic relationship, which is the homeland security, or what the Europeans would call internal security. Ever since 9/11, this issue has become much more prominent in not only in domestic politics, both in North America and in Europe, but also in the relationship between the two sides. And there's been an increased number of interactions at all different levels in terms of policy making that have dealt with issues ranging from terrorism to immigration to crime. This relationship has been characterized mostly by cooperation, but there have been instances of tension between the two sides. More so with regards to the relationship between the United States and Europe, but also the relationship between Canada and the EU has been at times a bit complicated. A good example is the issue of visa that have been imposed on some European countries, an issue that is still ongoing between the two sides. In terms of the agenda, the political agenda in this transatlantic relationship, there's been a sort of sense that most of it has been driven by the United States, even if the interactions have involved only Canada and EU. But in my research, what I have tried to emphasize is the fact that the European Union and Canada have managed to sort of carve in some independent approach towards the issue of homeland security, and then the relationship between two sides has allowed to expand what has been mostly an American-driven exercise. Over time, in particular in recent times, the relationship between Canada, the triangle, I would say, between Canada, US, and the EU, have become much more, there's been a trend towards more convergence in terms of policy. And this is clear from different aspects of the Homeland Security file. In my research, I look at different aspects of this trend. Again, for some people, this seems to be counterintuitive, because above all the U.S. position, which has been at times at odds with what Canadians and Europeans have elaborated in terms of homeland security. But one of the consequences of this convergence in policy is that there's been the emergence of what I call a transatlantic homeland security policy field. So a set of common assumptions and ideas translating into policies that these three actors, European Union is not a state per se, but certainly important policy actor in foreign policy, that have converged and created this new policy field. One of the consequences of the creation of the emergence of this transatlantic policy field is that the tensions and that have characterized this relationship have tended to be not necessarily to decrease, but at least to be framed within a broader perspective, which is the transatlantic one. And again, this is another issue that seems to be going against common sense regarding this relationship, which has become less and less, at least publicly important, in terms of the strategic vision, in particular from the US perspective. At the same time, we have to keep in mind that from a Canadian and European perspective, this transatlantic relationship is still very crucial. And we can see in terms of, for example, the ongoing negotiation over free trade agreement between Canada and the European Union, can see that as an example on a way to reinforce the transatlantic relationship, but going beyond, at least trying to find an alternative to the one-way street that is often the relationship with the United States. In terms of the long-term consequences of this idea that there is an emerging transatlantic homeland security field, what I'm researching right now, what I'm studying right now, is the possibility that this common approach might be spreading beyond the transatlantic area. In a sense, there is some kind of global approach to homeland security that has emerged ever since 9/11. The transatlantic relationship has been crucial in making that happen. We can see some example of this convergence at the global level in terms of policies adopted outside the United States, North America and Europe, that seem to be following quite closely the approach taken by the Europeans and North Americans. So in that sense, this is one of the future directions where homeland security as a global policy field might be leading.